Hey, what's going on, man? My name's the guy from Silencer, and I'm here to talk about the new split between WENDOL and WARWULF. If you're not familiar with either one of these bands, then stick around because this is a release that, in my humble opinion, is one of the best black metal releases that happened this year. Or did it happen last year? I don't really know, but I'm going to say it didn't happen last year because I wasn't aware of it last year and I'm cult as fuck, right? But I guess I'm not that cult because let me tell you the story. See, I saw this pop up on one of the US distros. I believe it was Adarondak Black Mass. Hail to them and thank you for making me not have to send some random person in some other country my bank account number to get this release. I would have done it though, because that's just how much of a real one I am. But I saw this pop up in a distro. I think Nithstang also has this too, or had this. I don't know. But originally this comes out on ASRAR. ASRAR, I don't know how to pronounce that. I got enough of them to know that that's what they're called, but I don't know what the fuck how to pronounce it, right? It's probably some Italian shit. I think it's an Italian label. One thing I do know is that the band that brought me to this split, the reason I purchased this, it sure wasn't the lame-ass Christmas card photocopied on top of gray paper album cover that this release has. It's pretty fucking dorky and not eye-catching at all. And I mean, if there's one thing I appreciate, it's a little fashion over function. But nevertheless, what brought me to this release, my friends, was the name on top, and that name was WENDOL. Now, if you're not familiar with WENDOL, I wouldn't be surprised because in total, I believe WENDOL has only released 5 original songs and 2 covers if you put everything WENDOL has recorded and put out. Now that includes the first release, which was cassette and CDR, which was Wallachian Tyrannic Madness, which is how I discovered WENDOL. They also had a second record, which I can't remember what it was called, but it was one song and it was 11 minutes. Mysticum something. I don't remember. But then they have this, right? And for me, WENDOL has stood out as being one of these like bands that I listened to and I was like, man, there's something about this fucking band. And I eagerly anticipated more from WENDOL because that first record, Wallachian Tyrannic Madness, only has 2 original WENDOL songs and a Signor Voland cover, French shit. And so really, the 2 original songs were what caught me. Like, the cover's fine, it's great, it's whatever, right? But the original songs hit me in that same nerve that likes my Satanic War Master, that little Finnish black metalish nerve, like early stuff, you know, CSM stuff, Carillion Satanic Madness, you know, where all the posers say that's their favorite record. That's my favorite record, too, by Satanic War Master. But I'm not saying this is a complete clone because it's not. There's a little something different for me about WENDOL, and maybe it's the fact that WENDOL is Italian, and so he puts a different spin on it. Durza Sinister, the man behind WENDOL, puts a little different spin on things, and to me, I heard that first record and it wetted my whistle for a little bit more. And then, of course, that next record came out and it was 11 minutes. You know, that first record starts out with WENDOL sharpening his blades and preparing for war, declaring war, as does the second one. But for me, this split is where WENDOL really declares war and fucking brings the hammer down because this is the best thing WENDOL has ever done. The disappointing fact is this guy, WENDOL, the guy behind it, Herr Durza Sinister, is not super prolific, or maybe he's just really picky because on this record, on this beautiful split, you've got 2 tracks of original music from WENDOL. One being the Jericho Trumpet, which is the middle track, which is the title of his side. And the last one is yet another cover from Bathory. Great cover, but I'm actually here for the original shit because I think WENDOL is one of the fucking sleeper great bands that is just like flying under the radar. No wonder the cover for this is lame as fuck. But hey, it was enough to get me to buy it just by seeing the name. But this is the best WENDOL shit that he has ever put out. And I would urge anybody who liked maybe Wallachian Tyrannic Madness where Wendol proclaimed on the inside of the liner notes, "This is not an NSBM project. I do not need to pretend to be a Nazi to spread my madness or to share my madness." And I always thought, man, this guy just wants to make enemies, and I like that. So for me, this is the best Wendol thing, and I'll tell you, the track, the Jericho Trumpet, which is the second track, all the tracks on this are good, right? But the second track for me is incredible, and it's this point where Wendol stretches out just a little bit more beyond the satanic war masterness that people might want to put him in. This song is incredibly like thoughtful. It's incredibly like impactful, and it simulates that moment in everyone's favorite war movie when a grenade goes off and the main character is looking around in slow motion at people running around with their legs blown off or their arms blown off or blood and guts everywhere, and everything's in slow motion. And this is like replicated in this song, and the tone and almost the beauty and surrealism of war and combat in a very romanticized, sort of majestic kind of way. Again, it's satanic war master-ish, it's Finnish black metal-ish, but that doesn't mean that it's a clone, and that's what's important to me. This is not just purely a clone. I mean, I think this guy specifically, Wendol, as much as he's not cranking out record after record, it's definitely a quality over quantity sort of thing. So if you've ever been interested in Wendol, this is the record to pick up. But that's not all, because this is a split, and on the other side is WARWULF. I had no fucking idea who this was, which tells me one thing: I'm a fucking poser. I'm not cult enough, apparently. But WARWULF, featuring Wolfskrieger, I believe is the guy's pseudonym, has been around since 2003. Where the fuck was I? More importantly, where the fuck were you, right? I mean, I have trouble typing in my search engine. What's your excuse, you know? Anyway, so I didn't know who the fuck this guy was, but I'm like, well, fuck, man. He's put out a couple full-length records. He's put out a ton of demos. He's done some splits. One-man project, and Wendol, Herr Durza Sinister, does play drums on, I think, one track for this. And as Wendol's side is the Jericho Trumpet, this side is A Crown of Burning Thorns, which is the second song. And as was the case with the Wendol side, that's the best song on this record. Now, or the best song on this side. And I'm not going to say whose side of the split is better, because it's not really about that for me on this. It's two different sort of approaches, two different sort of styles. And I hate even comparing bands to other bands, right? But if we're saying Wendol is a satanic war master-ish, we're going to say that, and I'm sure this comparison has been made before, that WARWULF is Vathana-ish, but just ish, right? And that's what makes both sides of this split good for me, is I'm okay with ish. I don't want to clone. Sometimes I want to clone, but I want ish. And the ish of WARWULF is the fact that for me, when I listen to a Vathana record, I'm not gonna pretend that I'm not going like this a little bit. Like, fuck, man, you've been playing this riff for a really fucking long time with not a lot of variation. Now, you say what you want about that. I know the eternal riff is a thing, but for me, I like a little bit more variation. And WARWULF has a little bit more in the realm of like varied riffs and things that I can like pick out. I'll also say, especially on the second track on this record, which I think was, everybody went, let's put our best track second and name the fucking our side after that. The vocals are incredibly varied. You're not just getting ring wraith shit, you're getting stuff in a little bit lower register, which to me is just enough to sort of add up to something cool. Now, on both sides of this split, you got a different kind of production. Both of them sound like absolute dog shit, which means one thing: super fucking cult, and it's not likely to be featured on anything that will make you embarrassed later, like Black Braid was on Decibel and now Lamp of Murmur is. I hate that we lost him to the other side, but that's never going to happen with this. Number one, because it's on ASRAR. Number two, because the quality of it is dog shit, but not bad dog shit, right? Now, if you're just coming in and you're swooping by and you're listening to this, you're going to miss out on the fact that this is WENDOL's best recording. Because it's gotten worse, the quality. And I say worse, that's my opinion, worse. You got to cut through a little bit more like muck and mire to hear what's going on. You got to turn the volume up a little bit on the WENDOL side. But once you do, man, there's so much goodness going on there. I do have to say I prefer the vocals on Walensian Tyrannic Madness a little bit more because they're pushed up front a little bit. But I get what was going on because this has more of almost like a whimsical sort of tragic quality to it. Not in like a pussy way tragic, but in a like, behold the glory and horror of death and war, right? So I love, to me, best WENDOL performance ever. I did like the vocals on the other side. But if you like the first WENDOL, you'll like this WENDOL. For WARWULF, it is, like I said, Vathana-ish, because you can't fucking hardly hear the drums at all. I mean, you know they're there, but it's like if you just want a sense of the drums, and which is weird, right? Because WENDOL played the drums on at least one of these songs, but for me, it's like, you know the drums are there, you know they're in there, but they're not cranking in your face. But again, that's part of what this style of black metal is about here. I mean, you listen to a fucking Vathana record. Yeah, are there drums? I don't know. Is somebody beating on a fucking suitcase like Kurt Cobain? Supposedly, whoa, fuck, I can... Oh, man, I needed that. Look at that. Anyway, where was I with this? The WARWULF side, I won't say it surprised me. I mean, I didn't know shit about this band before I picked up this split, which is brilliant for me, which is, to me, one of the best reasons to pick up a split. Like, in this genre, there's so many different fucking bands and dudes in their basement cranking stuff out. But you know what? When you get somebody who's been around since 2003, it's probably not a fad. It's probably not a hobby. They've probably been doing it for a long time. And you can tell that WARWULF has, because it's not just a copy. To me, it's a standout release, honestly. You know, I've been covering shit on this channel that was my favorite of last year, but I let this cut in line because this is my favorite of this year so far. Because I love WENDOL so much, I think it's a fantastic black metal project. I think it's one of the coolest out there right now if you like this type of music. And now WARWULF has inspired me to go start digging and go get the rest of his shit if it's fucking out there. So like I said, if you live in the United States, Adarondak Black Mass, I believe, had this. I can't remember. I get like 1,000 records in the mail every day. Flex post! But essentially, it's going to be available there. Nithstang, those dudes have it, I think. I don't remember. But you might have to dig for it. But that's why we're here. We're fucking archaeologists in the black metal world out here. So, look, man, don't let the shitty cover dissuade you from checking out two fucking amazing bands, one of which I think, if he ever gets around to doing a full length, will be like head and shoulders above a lot of other fucking bands that are out here getting more fucking accolades from all the nerds on the internet like me. So, that's all I got, man. This is a split worth purchasing if you can find it. The WENDOL side is on YouTube right now. Don't fucking listen to it. Buy the record. The WARWULF side, you're shit out of luck, man. You got to buy the record for that. So we'll see how cult you are. Let me know down in the comments if you have it. And if you don't, also let me know so I can call you a fucking poser. Anyway, that's all I got. Guy from Silencer here. See you on the next one.